it's a real treat to be here at Varsfontein Stud on this edition of Taking the Reins. Very warm welcome to you all, and we're looking forward to chatting to Susan Rowett for the next little bit to get a little bit of background about the stallions here at this wonderful farm, this magical farm, this historical farm as well. Some of the stallions, some of the foals, some of the mares, what might be going on, the CRS March sale, which is not too far away, and just a little walk around and getting a little bit of background about what Varsfontein is all about. We really are lucky in South Africa to have the array of high quality farms that produce Grade 1 winners, exported overseas and fly that South African flag very high. Susan, thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute treat here this morning. What a beautiful place. And I think the first thing that struck me on arriving is just some of the horses, some of the names that have walked these corridors and walked these paddocks before.
Yep, it's great to have you here and the team. So it's been fun. We've looked at the stallions and seen some of the mares, and you had a look at some of the fillies we're keeping. So yeah, we've been blessed with some really lovely horses along the years.
As far as the history of Varsfontein sort of goes, how long has Varsfontein Stud been around? Whose brainchild was it? And just a little bit of background.
A little summary, yeah. So it was my father's brainchild. He was a keen amateur rider over the jumps, and he was lucky enough to have in the early 70s Dero, who won the Paddock Stakes, Kendall Green, who'd won the Fillies Guineas, and a number of other good fillies. And so he started, those were the foundation mares, and he bought the farm with and installed a friend of his, Henny Diago, as manager, and started off. And we had Mexico come and be our stallion. And sadly, both Henny's wife and my father died within 5 years of that. So then my mother and the trustees kept it going. And then in about 1987, we sat down and we thought, well, what are we going to do? And my brother, John, myself and my mother said, no, we want to give it a go. Because at that stage, we must either sell or we must really go for it. So then we went for it, and Henny was retired. Yeah, that's why it was, because Henny was retiring. And then I'd got to know Carl, and I introduced Carl to my mother and my brother, and they really hit it off. And that's when Carl and Amanda joined us, and we started doing it. My mother started building buildings and renovating and making it as beautiful as you see it now. And John and I started building the broodmare band. Did
that racing bug always bite you? Was it something, or you and John, or was it something that sort of just organically came along?
No, John and I were addicted. There used to be, until we were 8, we lived in Durban, in Kloof, and you had the racing was on the radio. So John, we'd listening to the radio, and John made his own computer forms, and he'd have the horses, he'd draw the horses there and write them up. And he was a master at drawing these horses, particularly the jockeys riding their finish. It was stirring stuff on his little flip files of paper.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. I think what a lot of people kind of lose sight of is the whole process of producing a foal, getting a horse to the sales, getting a horse to the racetrack. This is really where it all begins. So we're sitting here in mid-February 2025. How much thought is going into the next 5 years, and how much thought has been given to the yearlings that we've just seen, the foals that we've just seen? Just give us a little bit of background into how long Varsfontein really, keeps those experiments in the back of their mind.
Well, about now we'd be looking at the sales coming up, because we've always tried to buy, sometimes the market, it's better to try and buy the fillies as yearlings. So we'll always be looking to buy, to race and bring them back to stud later. So that at the sales time, we're not just prepping them for the sales, we're also looking to buy. And then I'll start sort of thinking of we'll do our matings about, just around sales time or afterwards, planning. Lots of changes, always changes, and moving them around, and then so it's a long-term thing. And as you know, we've just agreed to stand green with Envy for Lady Laidlaw, Kaya Stables, and he will arrive here in March. So that's another long-term project going on. So he'll come cover mares this year, and their foals will only get to the sales 2026. They'll be born, so 2028. So yeah, we're planning.
It's a very long process. I'm glad that you brought up the current market, the current environment that we're in South Africa, and obviously the boon of export protocols being more relaxed now. What is your current report card of the market from a breeder's and buyer's perspective, I suppose?
Well, it's a lot more harder to pick up nice fillies off the track now. Everybody's going for it. So I think it's tougher for the breeders to buy, but it's better for owners to have a filly that they can sell on. So I'd say to owners, my daughter's got some young friends who might looking to have keen followers of racing and would like to start a little syndicate. And so I said the fillies market will be good because there'll be a residual value in it. You buy right and you'll get at the end of the racing career. Yeah. So I would say, well, I forgot the question.
No, just the current environment, the climate of the market.
Yeah, I think it's much more positive, and it certainly is great. A couple of horses get exported. Those are going for proper global prices, so that money will trickle back. So it's nice for owners to know that they could hit a big one and get a proper value.
And your policy of retaining the fillies that you do for racetrack and to try and get the famous all white with the quartered red and white cap, your policy with those?
Well, we normally only keep the fillies out of the older mares who've already produced something. So I know I've got some comments on Facebook, well, another horse that's never going to get to the sales, but yeah, so we love building families. So we keep them. So if you want to be in a Varsfontein family for the future, buy them out of the young mares that's coming to the stud, because that's the chance.
Let's take a little backtrack to yesteryear and walking through the various offices here. There's some fantastic memories that kind of trigger with some of the great names from obviously well before the 2000s, but just in my introduction of the game, the Duchess Darbers and the Promise from Our Hearts. Which horses really come to the forefront of your mind when you think of great Varsfontein horses that you've bred?
Well, the one that got us going, after we made the decision to go for a breeding future here, one of the first foals was born. I think we had a crop of 7 that year, and one of them was Marie Gallant. So that's the all-time best. And in those days, I know people who know Carl nowadays, he never goes to the races. Get him to Durban or nothing, not going to happen. But in those days, we flew up to Durban, we went to Scottsville, we led her in, and that was the most fantastic time.
Was that almost your justification that this is a good thing that we got going?
Yeah, that was for me a signal from my father, you've done the right thing, because that Marie Gallant, I mean, her combined age of Mexico and Indira, and that was my father's mare, must have been about 46, and there she was when she was born, and so that was like, yes, good girl.
and those early 2000s with Duchess Darber and Promise from Our Heart.
That was a good race. So what was it? What do I know what was called then? The Ipitombi, the 3 and 4 year old fillies. Yeah, they ran first and second in that. Yeah.
And subsequently, their blood has, also been very influential when going through sales catalogues.
Yes, we were just chatting off beforehand. My brother pushed Carl, keep bidding, so we bought Secret Pact. And you look now, she's built the whole pedigree page in the catalogue that's just all came from Varsfontein. Only one horse from black type on that page is not born at Varsfontein. And you look, there's the 3 stallions. Master My Fate, current 3rd in the country. New Stallion Malmoose was bred here, and Eric the Red. So in that year there was 350 mares covered by them. So say there's 300 yearlings this year, all sired by stallions who produced from the Secret Pact land. So that's one of our great families.
That's an unbelievable record. This might sound like a bit of a silly question, but how much pride do you have when you watch a Varsfontein bred horse on the racetrack winning? What does it mean to you, whether it's a maiden plate or a grade 1?
Well, no, grade 1s.
They're different, yeah.
Grade 1s are good. Really good, really exciting.
Let's talk a little bit about the stallions that are here at Varsfontein. We were very lucky to see, we obviously mentioned Green with Envy's on his way in about a month. But let's start with Gimme the Green Light and what he means to the farm, how you came about getting Gimme the Green Light off the track after winning the Lommero Queen's Place, as it was known back then, beating Variety Club, who was an absolute freak of nature and a flag bearer for South Africa. And just what he's done for the breed. Probably game changers used a little bit too easily in South African racing, but he's got proper progeny, doesn't he?
What was so attractive was that he was, Australian bred, so he was totally open to any bloodline. And that, you had your Captain Our Western Wind and all the Northern Dancer mares. Anyone could go to him because he was different. So he had absolute full opportunity. And I always remember I was there when he won the Queen's Plate, and he just was beautiful. And so when we heard that he was going to be retired And Carl and I was here, and Carl and I got in the car. We ran quickly to see him. We set up the meeting with Hassan Adams. We went to see, and I still can't believe really that we got him, because there were a lot of other studs busy. So I think Hassan just was. We clicked, and he came here.
Was the reception to his progeny at the sales automatically positive, or was it I suppose also with freshman stallions, it's always a little bit of a chance from a breeder and from an owner's perspective, buyer's perspective. But was he automatically just a little bit different? Was he always one step ahead in the sales ring in terms of the price he fetched?
Can't really. Well, your first season stallion, but he did. There was a really good colt out of. Oh, I've forgotten the name. Forest Indigo's brother.
Yes.
So. Yeah, on the sale. So he got a good price at that. But he didn't start off with a bang. We had the shareholders meeting here in May, and people were like, you know what, he's not exactly going for it. And we said, okay, well, we'll keep the service fee, you know, about low, but a bit low on 20,000, I think it was, or 15,000. And then boom, 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 June, July, early August, he just hit. And then everybody wanted to buy services. We couldn't, you know, we honoured the price, but yeah, so he only really got going at the end of the 2-year-old.
And really special. I mean, this is one of the trophies that he's brought back to Varsfontein, and there's no shortage that owners have picked up through Give Me the Green Light. I mean, he's been an amazing servant to South African racing.
Exactly, and he can get them with the right mare. You know, you get them to stay. He gets a very good stayer, but mostly it's sprinter to the mile and a half, classic mile, like Surcharge and Green with Envy. So, yeah.
He's obviously well into his teens, is Give Me the Green Light. Still going strong?
Yep, very fertile. He needs management because he's got some health issues, and his book has been restricted to 95. But breeders have been really good. They sent the most fertile mares, and he coped really well. I think Carl will correct me, but I mean, I think he got the 95 mares and the 92 in foal, something like that.
It's an unbelievable strike rate. Let's talk about probably one of the more handsome horses around, Master of My Fate. Absolutely loved him as a racehorse, trained by Dennis Dreyer. He's, dare I say, an overachiever a little bit as a stallion, if you consider, you know, the fact that he's punching with the Give Me the Green Lights and the Vercingetorixes, never looks out of place in the grade 1s. His progeny always catch the eye at the sales. What's he all about? And also, you know, the personality of Master of My Fate.
Yeah, that was amazing to get him back to stud, because he was top priced yearling colt of his year, and then he had all those setbacks with Uncle Den, and you know, then he had his fabulous run of five wins, first whatever, and near just got unlucky in running in the Met, and then he had another injury, and then we got him back to stud. So he's never been, as he wasn't a grade 1 winner, he's had to work his way up, and now this year he had the Atticus Finch, won the Summer Cup, and I honestly think in the last 2 years at the sales you'll have seen, you know, it's got the better mares, and I think he will keep going up there, and there will be more Sent by Destiny's Trend by Candace beating the colts. So,
that was a magic day. You talk about the fact that he wasn't a grade 1 winner, but yet a lot of his progeny have. Talk about Sent by Destiny, talk about Atticus Finch, Zarina, who won the Garden Province.
Tempting Fate.
Tempting Fate, as you know, Dennis Dreyer is a 2-year-old Scottsville. Like I said, he's a real overachiever as a stallion, but he looks so happy with love. Watching him go around the paddocks, there's just no shortage to a happy, playful horse. It's almost like he's a 3-year-old. Put him back into training, why don't you?
Yeah, okay. How old is he? 15, I think.
Yeah,
so,
sounds about right.
Like that. Yeah. So no, he's looking really good. They all look good to this morning, I thought.
Of course they do.
Yeah.
Eric the Red, his first progeny are 2-year-olds, unbelievably well-bred son of Captain L. Also not a grade 1 winner, but the reception I've heard from trainers has been really, really positive. How's the reception been from breeders?
Breeders really supported him. He's still got, he's covered 115 mares every year, and this year 115 again. Breeders very happy. He's really good for like a maiden mare. He does really well with them. You know, he had some, you know, issues, so that's why he came out as an early 2-year-old, and we raced him because we wanted to make sure there was no, if he needed a op for the scope, then we'd do it, because we always thought he was the Guineas horse. But then he was such a good 2-year-old, so we said, right, okay, Merchants, and he was a, you know, good sprinter. But then we retired him. But yeah, I think he will have a lot of scope going forward.
What's really going to make him tick though? When do you think we're going to get to that sweet spot as far as Eric the Red progeny is concerned?
I would say that, you know, early 3-year-olds. Yeah, that's what I think, because that's what he should have been. Except we raced him early. That was great fun. Yeah.
What about Sandringham Summit? Seeing him here this morning,
Okay.
I'll never forget his wins during the KZN winter season.
Weaving his way through.
He's electrifying.
Amazing.
He
Yes.
really was. What are your hopes and expectations for Sandringham Summit? Again, another beautifully bred horse out of the mare Townsend, who got no shortage of black tuck to her name. Now
Yeah.
you've got the Stallion standing here in the form of Sandringham Summit. I mean, it was inevitable he was going to fetch a big price at the sales when he was there, but it's been a lovely.
It's been a good story.
Yeah,
It's been a
puzzle.
really good story, and you know, David Nieuwenhuizen, and he did so well with him, and it was just great fun. And then after we'd bought him and syndicated him, because the deal to America fell through, and so we jumped in and bought him, and it was so great. We had shareholders on course for his Guineas win, David Shaw and Suzette Villiers, and
Lawrence Verners is in there
yes,
somewhere.
Lawrence was there. So that was really good fun. I think he was unlucky not to win the Grade 1, and then when he went down for the big clash with Green with Envy in the KZN Guineas, that was when the racing got delayed and he had to stay another 4 days, which wasn't ideal in a different stable in the hot
Especially for a
climate.
raiding trainer. I suppose when a Cape Town guy goes there, they set up camp for a few months.
Yes.
A raiding trainer is a
Yeah.
little bit different. So yeah, that, you know,
Yeah.
fate will sort itself out, won't
Yeah.
it?
But I think, you know, he is a sprinter miler, you know, and I think that will be that'll be fantastic too.
And
A 2-year-old miler. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the new kid on the block, who obviously we didn't see this morning because they're not here yet.
Yeah.
Green with Envy. Give me the green light out of a Galileo mare, 2-time Grade 1 winner. One of the most athletic horses I've seen in the last sort of 5 years or so, just the way that he was able to win a Daily News 2000 with his back in the wall, and the way that he absolutely trotted up in the Splash Out Cape Derby when winning those 2 Grade 1s in totally different styles. How excited are you to have that Galileo blood?
Oh, fantastic. I think we need a bit more. That's why people say, why have you got 2 sons and give me the green light? But they're different, and we've got the outcross with the, you know, with the Galileo there, and you know, he'll be more stamina influence, which we want to breed. The stallions in this country have gone more of the sprinter miler type, so at least we've got the staying blood coming in from the Galileo, and that will be where you can breed your Met winners and the July winners.
I'm glad you brought up the sprinter miler type stallions that are now being, you know, sourced all over the place. Why is that? Do you think it's the incentives for the young horses? Do you think it's a matter of getting the quick return for the owners? Is South Africa sort of taken that wide stance towards the Australian model?
Well, we are. It is, you know, the average winning distance for a racehorse here is whatever 7 furlongs. So, you know, with fewer and fewer importations of horses, I mean, of that more of a staying things coming in. The local South African breds have just gone to the way South African racing is. I think that's sprinter miler, which is why my brother and I have now been bringing in imported, looking for fillies from overseas. We've been buying Camelot fillies, more of the stayings, like from the family of Harzand, you know, Derby winner. So to bring that in to mate with the sprinter milers, to hopefully, you know, build another family like we've managed to do with some of our imported horses, but with more of the distance of the Met and the July, that type of race.
Let's talk about mares, because we were going around here and it's amazing to be triggered by some of the names. I think you can talk about some of the mares here that have been so influential on the racetrack and also in the barns. What's the starting point? Where do you begin with these mares that are around here?
What? No, there's too many. I don't know. What? Which ones are my favourite, or the
just you know, the ones that really make a difference to the racetrack, make a difference to the breed, the ones that people really want to go and see and get their hands on.
Well, I love families. So I've got you know, Bella. We went down to see her, the pink horse. Yeah, it's tricky.
How special was Bella when she was racing and also as a broodmare, just to have that true Varsfontein blood?
Well, it was bred by Vaughan Costa.
Okay.
But I've sort of crept into that family, you know, and managed to accumulate some of it. So, but it is a Cleveley family, and I loved her at the August sale. So it's just was fantastic. And now her first foal was Ciao Bella, and now we had Bella Vista yesterday. Very unlucky, got sandwiched. But they're all quite. I think it's the cross with Give Me the Green Light. They're quite feisty. So, but we got a fourth Give Me the Green Light filly out of Bella Vella down there that we saw. So she's one of my, always on my walks. That's one of my stops. Yeah. And my old lady then, Secret of Victoria, her much older sister. We bought her from Mr. Miller when he sold her on. I'm delighted I got my filly. She produced 2 colts, meaning, and now this year I think she's 23. Finally got my filly by Eric the Red. So yeah. And then we got our Just the Way You Are.
Yeah.
You know, she's probably dam of Malmoose, and we kept daughter Mascarino, who's got stakes winner in KZN last year. So we, yeah, she'll be another one of my, always gets a pat.
Yeah.
Star Express, dual two stakes winners.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You mentioned Said by Destiny earlier. Also
Family
going
of
around.
Princess Peach double grand slam.
Yeah.
American Princess who won the PE Derby.
Yes.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So,
Doesn't stop. Due Diligence.
Due Diligence.
Yeah.
She's got a yearling on your March sale.
Yeah.
That's also from the Promise family. That's her second foal. The first foal we kept, but she unfortunately died. So that's an opportunity to get into that family. We don't sell many from that family, so. Yeah.
Sure, we can work out.
Okay.
A little bit from the team perspective. You talk about Carl the Foss, who's been here for a very, very long time, showing us around. He's very much entrenched to the operation. But
well, Carl built
the
whole farm. He's built the broodmare band, you know, and he's been a phenomenal, you know, team leader, building and developing staff, and you know, we've got a very good set of grooms. We've got Yaku and Carolyn here, indispensable and fantastic people. Yeah, so Carl this is the tribute to Carl.
Absolutely. So Carl's been here for over 30 years?
Since 1988.
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
So he knows every nook and cranny of this
farm. And you look down the page, he'll be foaling down a mare, he's foaled the mare down, he's foaled the grandmother down. He's probably the third, definitely he's done from 3 generationals.
And he's not tired of it yet?
No, he's not.
Yaku, how long has he been around? Because he's always there at the sales. Obviously here today, very integral cog to the operation.
Yaku and Carolyn must have been here about nearly, 20 years, almost 20 years now. Time goes by, yes.
But he's a thorough horseman, isn't he?
Yeah, no, Yaku's the vet. Yeah, Yaku and Carolyn. And Carolyn, you'll have seen in the vet room there, and the lab equipment, because the foals get sick and die in an instant. So Carolyn's mastered the wonderful blood machines that's possible. So, you know, that she can take the blood, check the blood, and then see that the blood is turning, treat the foal before it gets bad. So, you know, the lab equipment's expensive, but you save one foal, you've paid it off. So.
A little bit about your team. One thing that's always struck me about Varsfontein, and it's about a lot of farms, but in particular, the team of grooms that you bring to the sales, how accommodating, how professional they are, and also just watching them. I mean, it's like clockwork. I suppose that there's also a lot of stalwarts from that perspective that are here at Varsfontein.
Yes, Fricky, who would have been our lead man at the sales, and Henny, who's more on the farm maintenance, the irrigation, the fencing, everything. So those are top. There are 2 men there, and Ricky marshals them at the sales, and he develops them and trains them up. You know, and we've had two good guys going all the way through the training schemes, and Ferdy's now at Hopes and Dreams, and
must make you really proud, because I think it's an underrated job. Underappreciated job even at the sales, when Varsfontein arrived with north of 30 horses just to coordinate everything. We've got so many people coming to view, because inevitably we know that we're going to be shopping for potential stakes winners at Varsfontein. Just the operation and the understanding of what's required has always struck me. So
We should see when they're packing up to go to nationals. It's that's a big mission. To, they pack the trommels, they pack the kit, the grooming kit, all of it. Yeah, we got once. I think we took over 40 to a sale, and that finished everybody off. And I think people, when they came to look at the yearlings, they were like, not another one. So now we've learnt from that. So we'll aim to not more than 30.
Okay. Sales prep. I know it's a seriously important job. We've just seen the March yearlings come past. We'll talk about them in just a moment. But what is the whole procedure between, I don't know, let's go to the 1st of August when yearlings will become yearlings, and getting them to the sales? How do you select the sale? Which one is a January horse? Which one's a March horse? Which one's an August horse or a Nationals horse? Which one's coming in the ready to run 2-year-old sale? How much thought goes into that?
A lot, and but it's very difficult. We tried, this year was really challenging, and it was also complicated by the fact that we couldn't vaccinate, so we could only vaccinate if they went and had a residency outside. So that skewed, you had to find out. We did this at the end of July, so then in August we could vaccinate the ones going to nationals, but you have to. We did it physically to try and guess which horse, and then you got to know the brothers and the sisters from the years before. Did they develop more? Was that what you're going to get? So it was really difficult, and you'll only know when you get to the sale, and then some just won't develop, and then you have to take them off and go to a later sale. But it's tricky, and you always know that there's ones at the early sales will develop and look amazing later, and you just hope that the buyers do. I think the buyers are pretty good. They can see that the slightly babyish looking horse, slightly light, is going to do that.
And as far as the horses that are coming on March, obviously had a sneak peek at them.
My crib sheet.
when did you?
Oh yeah, they come in. They got it before the sale. It's a 4-month prep.
Okay.
And they've got to come in, and it changes that they get fed more. Then they come and be stabled, and then they'll be in the walker, and all the grooming starts. But it is difficult this year with them all on top of the other, because we've got I think 20 coming to that sale, and then we've got other ones that are being prepped as well. So, and we have the January horses. So it's been tricky this year, but it's quite fun because then you can see the different stages. This one's just about to go into the sale, and that one's a month behind, and that one's a month behind.
Do you ever equate it to raising a child?
I'm sure Jakob and Carolyn do, and Carl, but so yeah, you've got the late maturers, and Jakob comes up with great expressions. Let's
talk a little bit about your horses that are coming to Hollywood Vets Kennelworth in March. The Premier Yearling Sale, which will be held in mid-March. Roughly how many are coming, and what are we looking forward to?
I've got about 18 or 20. I think you've got Zapatius's Give Me the Green Light brother. So I think he's a really quite a flashy looking horse. You've got a grey colt, half brother to 2 Group 1 winners, Secret of Victoria's colt. That should have been a filly, but I'm all right now. I've got my filly. We've got a lovely Give Me the Green Light colt. That's a half brother to Mercantor, and then the European people would know this family. Talk Posh. He's a What a Winter colt, and that's the mother is a half sister of Grand Dam of Charon, who was won I think 3 or 4 Great Ones last year. So, and that's all the rage in Europe. So that's one for the European connoisseurs.
Fantastic. So looking forward to having all of those horses go under the hammer, and more owners to dream of more stakes winners courtesy of Varsfontein. Let's take a step away from the farm and talk a little bit about being chairperson of the NHRA. How did that come about?
Well, I'm always I love racing. Racing is, you've got to compete. Nobody will want to compete if you don't have integrity, fair racing, same rules for everybody. So I care about that, and I care about horse welfare. So, I actually quite enjoy it. I studied law as my undergrad, and so maybe finally it's being put into use a bit. So,
Is it a taxing position?
At times.
Yeah. A little bit about living abroad. Where do you really set up shop?
Well, yeah, it's varied. I grew up in England. My husband's Zimbabwean, so I lived there, and then we moved back to France, Monaco, So that's the real base. And then come here for quite long stints. Like now we're here for 3 months. So,
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
So when would you head back to Europe? Was it sort of a summer,
I'll
winter
be here.
thing?
Swallow type thing, and
Okay.
then I'll come out for the sales. And then and then I can always try and come in early August, see some early foals,
Yeah.
and make further changes to the mating plans, and over red wine in front of the fire. Yeah. So that's it.
What really excites me is what I have noticed about the Culmanson Rowett family, obviously you and your brother John, Rockapina. Now,
Yes.
now
Aren't they lucky, those kids?
who are the owners? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay, well, so I've got all our kids are like between 20 and 27. I've got Hannah and John, and they were lucky enough to be here at UCT and were here when Bella won. So they've been had some experience of having a good horse. And my brother's kids are Alice and Charlotte. Alice has done a master's in fine art. She's in London, and Charlotte's studying drama. And they, of course, grown up watching their father go crazy in front of the TV and shout and follow the horses. So this was to get them. They designed their colours, and to have they race as a four partnership for 4 of them, the 4 cousins, and they alternate who gets the horse to run in their colours. So yeah, and they've been very lucky. We gave them Rockapina, and they had Pineapple Mint Green with Eric, who was their first stakes winner. So and Rockapina's knocking at the door in Charlotte's colours. So Pineapple Mint Green was in Hannah's colours.
Fantastic. Are they genuinely interested in racing? Are they going to follow on the great Culmanson name?
One hopes so. What are we doing? Yes, no, I hope so.
And just to put a lid on it all, what is your favourite part of it all? What's the most rewarding part about being Susan Rowett? Why do you do it?
Why do I do it? No, the thrill of racing, of having winners, and I don't necessarily have to be there, but I will. When I am, it's fantastic. I go berserk. Now, as NHH, I'll have to be really well behaved, but I'll still shout like crazy. And the biggest thrill, I think, is thinking of looking at a page in a catalogue of a yearling that's gone, and having a picture in my mind of every single horse on that page. So I think it's happened with Secret Pack's family, Alexandra Bai's family, and that's it. To build a family.
It's been a wonderful thrill to be here at Varsfontein today. To see the team, they absolutely love this coming here to film at any farm really, but this has been a real treat. So thank you so much for having us. Here's hoping that there are lots of Grade 1 winners in your famous colours. Let's hoping that there's lots of Grade 1 winners bred by this wonderful farm, and let's hope that South African racing continues to go from strength to strength. Thank you for your time, and thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you, Alistair. Pleasure.